Welcome to First Parish in Milton's virtual worship. We're so glad you tuned in. I'm Reverend Lisa Ward, minister.
And I'm Pat Neves, member of the worship committee.
So just sit back, relax. We're so glad you've joined us. The lone wild bird in lofty flight is still with thee, nor leaves thy sight. And I am thine, I rest in thee. Great Spirit, come and rest in me. The ends of earth are in thy hand, the seas dark deep and far off land, and I am thine, I rest in thee. Great Spirit, come and rest in me. We light our chalice and give the call to worship. Come, let us gather. We gather to celebrate the sacred within and among us. We come to seek spiritual growth and understanding. We strive to practice acceptance, forgiveness, and love. Together, we work to build a world with justice and compassion. Come, let us gather together. The Cyclist by Mark Nepo. The day of the race, he was stretching with the others, and he felt good. He knew that he had practiced for months before this time, and for some reason he felt like some sort of blessing was going to happen. He didn't know why he was feeling that, but he got ready. He had done months of going up and down these hills. He knew this course from the back of his hand. He figured out ways to make himself faster by not wearing as much, or by going around the curves in the just perfect way, going up the hills. I mean, his thighs were thick like trunks. He was ready. He was flexible. This was his race. The gun goes off. All of the bikers go, and he just goes right ahead, and he goes around the curves, goes up the hills, and within 2 hills, he was way ahead. So he goes up one really, really high hill, comes back down, takes a curve around the wetlands, and suddenly a great blue heron comes up out of the water and goes over his bike. The shadow startled him, and he stopped, straddled the bike, and watched this majestic creature fly out past the south that way. The bikers went, and he just for a minute had that moment. Got back on his bike and rode through. For years later, people would ask him, "What made you lose the race?" And he said, "I didn't lose the race. I left it. I didn't lose the race. I left it." This is a very disruptive time in our lives. Our routines are off. However we think of the race of our lives is not the way it used to be just a week ago. So what can we hold on to? How can we deal with this way of being? Where can we find our wonder?
Our reading is called Pandemic by Reverend Lynn Unger. What if you thought of it as the Jews consider the Sabbath the most sacred of times? Cease from travel. Cease from buying and selling. Give up, just for now, on trying to make the world different than it is. Sing, pray, touch only those to whom you commit your life. Center down. And when your body has become still, reach out with your heart. Know that we are connected in ways that are terrifying and beautiful. You could hardly deny it now. Know that our lives are in one another's hands. Surely that has come clear. Do not reach out your hands, reach out your heart. Reach out your words. Reach out all the tendrils of compassion that move invisibly where we cannot touch. Promise this world your love, for better or for worse, in sickness and in health, so long as we all shall live.
Let's take a moment to have that gorgeous reading in some stillness. Blessed be. These are unsettling times. What ifs fill our being. Fear, anxiety, worries, even paranoia can enter in. It's important to focus on what we do have, on what we can do, even if it's different than what we're used to. What we can do is breathe. We can find ourselves when we feel that anxiety just to breathe a little more. We can breathe for ourselves, for our way of being in the world, and we can breathe in solidarity with those with the coronavirus who are struggling with breathing. We can breathe together. We can cherish interdependence. I mean, the coronavirus at least has told us that we're all in this together. We can't avoid that. So we can cherish and recognize our interdependence, recognize our interaction. When we're on the streets, we can say, hey, much more to strangers. We're all in this together. We can reach out to folk that we haven't reached out to in a long time. We're all in this together. We can shed the whole self-made person thing. We're all in this together. We need one another. We need to take care of ourselves and other. That's what we're being called to do right now. A resident theologian, which of course we all are, came up with something yesterday, which is a really good idea. Why don't we take our membership books, open it up, and look for a name of a person we really don't know, or a picture of a person that we really don't know, and contact them. See how they're doing in this pandemic. And do it at least once a week. Just reach out. Be more creative. Find ways. These are new times. And yes, there's all sorts of feelings that we have, but be curious about those feelings. Be gentle with yourself. Don't try to judge them. Figure out what it is that you're feeling. Figure out what it is that you can do about your feeling. This too will pass. We don't know how long. So you now have this time to just see what you can do with how you feel. Get judgment out of it. Be curious. Let yourself be in this moment, that is, here. We have the opportunity right now to practice loving your neighbor as yourself in a really strong way. We take care of our own self, we take care of our hygiene, we make sure that we are as strong as we can be, as resilient as we can be, and we care about whether our neighbors are that way. Some of us will be able to volunteer, others will self-isolate. But it's about loving your neighbor as yourself, and that's the whole circle. Loving your neighbor as yourself. So be well as you can be. We do not need people to be noble right now and go out if they feel sick. That's not noble, that's negligent. Pay attention. Honor yourself. Honor nature. There's also some phrases that I've been thinking about that we're hearing a lot of if we listen to the radio a lot or look on TV. Social distancing, that's a word that we're hearing over and over and over again. Now, social distancing doesn't mean stopping connections. It just means being more mindful about our connections and maybe more creative about that. There are plenty of ways we can connect. We've got eyes, we've got ears, we've got imagination. There are many ways that we can share our lives together. We can have shared silence, we can have shared wonder, we can have shared love. We can be for one another. Some of us are going to feel more isolated than others, so we can reach out when we feel isolation, and we can wonder how others that may be living alone or ill, whether they're feeling isolated. And remember that it's all about all of us. Another phrase that is used that I'm hearing a lot of is fight. We're going to fight the virus, fight the virus. And I understand, yes, we have to figure out how to not have the virus infect us. We have to mitigate the spread. But if we keep with the fight and enemy language, we're going to start to put on armors on ourselves, and we're going to forget how we can connect, and we're going to become more paranoid. And we may even blame people that have the virus. We have to not go there. We have to not steel ourselves against this virus, but honor that it's in our lives, and we need to be smart about it. And we need to take this time to live deeply, differently than we have, but it's still there. How can we live deeply? Maybe you can do early spring cleaning. This is a good time to do that. Maybe correspond with folk that you haven't talked to in a long time. All different ways to correspond. Maybe finally create a meditation practice so that you can calm your anxieties. You have time to practice that now every day. And maybe volunteer if you can. This is something that we're all going to be in together. This is something that we all can be in together. Let's practice community as best we can. Feel free to be in touch with me whenever you want. Be smart. Stay in virtual contact. Have creative ways to touch one another and be touched by others. Honor each other. Blessed be. We'll.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion.
Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Let's join our hearts in the spirit of prayer. Great and majestic life, your mystery unfolds in many ways. May we recognize the spirit of love and connection that abides in all things. We are feeling broken right now. We are feeling restless. We are feeling afraid. We also feel wonder. We also want to know what the next moment is. Help us know that we are surrounded by love, by the assurance of life, by all the people that are in this with us. Let us send out special prayers to those who are especially unnerved and unsettled by this pandemic. Let us hold those who feel infected or unsure deep in love. Let us remember that there are families that cannot visit loved ones in nursing homes and send them compassion. Let us know that students have had to come home from studying abroad. Let us help them feel loved too in prayer. And also, now that extended families are living under one roof, let's give them humor and a way to generate peace in the crowded homes. And let's lift up love to all the prayers given out but unknown amongst us. Amen. As I extinguish the chalice of our faith, may the flame burn deeply within you. I want to give a special shout out to Eric Miller, who has made this virtual worship possible. Go out, find ways to touch others, find ways to see the glory of life. Have a good week. Amen.